Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, it is Brian Kaz here, joined by my friend and business partner Sean Casey, and we have another Wednesday marketing webinar for you. This will be a pretty interesting one, I think, because it'll be things that you can do to make money online even without a website. So that's one of the questions we oftentimes get, and some of the prior calls, we've basically talked about various things that you can do. Some include, with a website, some include without a website. So I just thought we'd have a call specifically on several things that you can do without a site, because that's what a lot of people seem to always ask about. But having said that, I just want to point out that, if you don't have a site, don't feel like that's holding you back from basically doing much, because even if you want to do all the stuff that you could do with a site, you can have a site up within minutes by just going to a site like blogger.com, blogger.com, and it's free to make and host a basic blog there. And if you're brand new, you can have a site up in like 5 to 10 minutes. Pretty easy stuff there. But I know a lot of you, again, want to just get some info on what to do without a site. So I thought we'd have a call specifically on just that. Now, obviously, if you have a site, you can still apply all the stuff here to your site or to your business there. But I thought this would be a pretty interesting call right there. So without further ado, we can get the show on the road. And once more, we have these calls every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is right about now. I know a lot of you know that, but I know we have some new people on this call as well here. But we'll have live training and or a Q&A call for our members. So usually we have a chunk of training and such. Sometimes we'll do like some live website analyses and stuff like that. And then almost always we have at least some time left aside for our Q&A. Now, you can feel free to ask any question you want throughout this call in the little chat box, and either like Sean or Sharon will answer you in the chat. But towards the end of the call, if there's anything left, I'll basically answer it live. And as a side note, guys, just to give you a heads up, so next week on our Wednesday call, we'll most likely be basically doing like a live website and business analysis. So what that means is that you have the opportunity for us to analyze your website and or your business. So it won't just be from like an SEO perspective. We'll include that stuff, but it'll also be like, what we would do to help increase sales or to get sales, or what we do to market it on top of the SEO stuff. So if you have a website that you'd want to analyze, or you have a business that you want us to analyze and give you like a marketing plan on, feel free to submit those. And how you would do that is you can just write support@webfire.com and just say, hey, this is for consideration for next week's website analysis call. And we, depending upon how many we get in, we might not be able to do all of them, but we'll definitely pick like a chunk of those and a variety of them to do as many as we can on that call. And usually a lot of the tips that we give for a one applies to, almost all of you as well. We try to pick a variety of sites and businesses, so basically everyone can get the most benefit out of it. So yeah, looking forward to that next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern as well. So if you're here or you're registered for this series, you'll get a reminder each week, so don't forget. But if you can't make one, we'll have the recordings in the members area, usually within about a day of any of the calls, under the training tab on the left side navigation bar. So you would click on the training, then you'd click on the Wednesday calls, and you'll see it right there. Now, I have a quick question for you all, which is just be basically an open-ended question that you can feel free to take like a minute to type your answer in. Just kind of give us some feedback and see what kind of needs and wants you guys have. And the question is, what kind of tools or services do you think would be most useful for you and your business? So feel free to take like a minute or so to answer that in the chat box. Any feedback or any info like that would be greatly appreciated, because it kind of helps us, do future updates or future tools and stuff, or future services and stuff to help you. So we like to see what you guys yourselves say that you'd want, or stuff that you think would be useful for you. So again, feel free to take a minute to do that, and we'd greatly appreciate that. And as always, we have a free Facebook group that you should join. It is completely free. You just have to go to getwebfire.com/FB group. Again, that's getwebfire.com/FB group. That will forward you to the Facebook group. And if you're not a member of that yet, again, which is just free, just click the join button, and Sharon, who's our helper on this call, will probably have you approved, I'm guessing within like a minute or two or so, if you do so around now. And if you do that, towards the end of this call, you'll have an opportunity to win $100 live on this call, where we'll actually do a drawing live on this call. But to have a chance to win that, you have to be a member of that free group right there. And we'll give you some instructions partway through this call on what to do to get a chance to win $100 live that will PayPal over to you this afternoon if so. Now let's move on to our training for this week on things you can do to make money even without a website. And again, as I said, if you have a site, you can easily apply this to that as well. But all this stuff is fairly easy where you can start even without a site. So for the overview for today, we'll basically talk about 4 different things that you can do to make money without a site, and then we'll have some time for our Q&A if there's any other questions or anything like that, and then we'll give some cash away. So the 4 easy things that you can do to make money online without a website, here's the 4 right here, and I'll go into detail on each one in just a minute here. So first is creating a web service and finding buyers method. We'll talk about that. Second is what I call a shortcut to getting big sellers to do the work for you method. Then I'll talk about the affiliate marketing made easy trick. And lastly, I'll talk about taking advantage of social media the easy way. So all those are things that you can do right now, even without a site. And having said that, guys, let me ask you guys a question right here. How many of you, and you can type one or two, how many of you here right now have a site or don't have a site? If you have a site, maybe type a 1 in the chat box. If you don't have a site, maybe type in a 2, just so I see where you guys are all at. Okay, looks like a decent amount of you have at least a site, but there's still plenty of you that so far don't have a site, and that's all fine. That's a good mix right there. So again, you'll be able to all take advantage of this call right here. So the first thing up right here, number 1, is creating a web service and finding buyers method. So there's a huge market out there for web services. This can include everything from SEO, which is like helping sites rank and stuff, social media management, which is basically like helping post on Facebook and Twitter and all that, lead generation, video creation, site creation, article writing, fan page creation, mobile sites, so on and so forth. It's just a huge market. I mean, tons and tons and tons of businesses, probably almost every business needs at least 1 or several of those. A lot need like almost all of them. Webfire can help automate a lot of work with the vast majority of these for you. For instance, we have SEO tools that can automatically find the issues and fix them. We have social media tools to automatically put social media in autopilot. We have lead tools. We have video tools. We have article tools, and all sorts of things there to help basically do tons of services that you could sell. Now, even if you choose not to do that work yourself, which again can be very easy with the tools like Webfire, you can also easily find outsourced workers to do the parts that you don't want to. Like you can look on Fiverr.com, that's Fiverr.com. You can look at Craigslist and a whole bunch of freelance sites, and you can find lots of workers that already do a lot of the services that you could be selling. Now, the trick to being able to find the good ones is basically 2 things. Is 1, try to find ones that are at a decent price that you can mark up. For instance, something like SEO, you can sell for hundreds to thousands of dollars, in some cases even more, but a lot of people sometimes will sell it for a tiny fraction of that. So the key is to find ones that you can still have a decent markup on, of many times. But on top of that, you want ones that have, lots of reviews or lots of history, or, lots of orders done, as well as ones that have a decent amount of social proof. And by social proof, I mean examples of the work done. If it's like SEO, it could be rankings achieved, or testimonials, or anything like that right there. And, so that's the key to looking for some good ones right there. The other key is to make those offers as done for you as possible for your prospects. Even if you have to tweak the exact service that an outsourced worker provides, or if you have to tweak, let's say an offering that Webfire does within its tools, you want to make it as done for you as possible. So you don't want to have your prospect have to do a lot of work. The more work you ask them to do, the less likely they'll be excited about buying from you, and the less likely you'll be able to charge more at the same time. People, especially ones that like to pay a lot of money, like it to be as hands-free as possible. And you can create your own offer by doing these three things. First, you can, again, as I said, make it as done for you as possible to increase the value and the price. So instead of just like, let's say, saying, hey, I analyzed your site, and this is what you should change on your title tag, and this is what you should do here, and this is what you should do there. Instead of doing that, just make the changes for them. Do it all for them, make it hands-free. And the difference is, instead of charging like $100, you can charge a few $1,000s for virtually the exact same thing. You just go the extra mile by just making it hands-free. Because a lot of business owners and stuff, it kind of scares them to have to mess around with that stuff. They'd rather just pay more and have it done than pay a lot less and have to do a lot of the work themselves. It's kind of like the same reason why you can basically buy all the materials to build a house at a fraction of the price of what it costs to build a house. But 99% of home buyers out there do what? They buy the pre-made house, or they hire the people to build the house for them, even though it can cost many, many times that. They just rather have the work done, because it's kind of scary if you don't know what you're doing there. Like, you probably wouldn't want me building a house, because I probably wouldn't do the best of jobs, because I wouldn't know what I'm doing. Similar to a business owner with SEO or social media or video creation and stuff like that. They don't want to do that stuff because they know that they'll probably do a sucky job at it, because they don't know anything about it yet. So they're willing to pay more for you to have that done for them. The other thing is that when you create your offer, you want to show social proof. This can be like using SEO as an example. This can be rankings that you've achieved, or rankings that the outsourced worker has achieved. And it doesn't even have to be actual examples. It can also be testimonials, or even if you're brand new and you don't have any of that, or you don't want to outsource to someone that has all that, which again, if you ask them for permission, you can oftentimes use all that yourself. But another kind of social proof is showing actual examples. For instance, let's say you want to target dentists, okay? And the first thing you want to do is you want to target, all the dentists in Atlanta, Georgia, okay? And like that, what you could do there is, your social proof could be, you could create like a little video where you'd show like a Google search, like dentist Atlanta, Georgia, or teeth whitening Atlanta, Georgia, or dentures Atlanta, Georgia, or whatever kind of dental work would cost a lot of money. Which there's lots of dental work that would cost a lot of money. I think Sean actually just dished out like a couple grand or so for some work there. So there's a lot of money in that stuff. And what you could do is you could create a video saying, hey, here's some sites that rank and here's some sites that rank at the very bottom or on page 2 or 3. Here's the difference. These guys right here that are number one and 2, you see they have the keywords in the title tags, they have it in the description, they do a good job on their site of doing this, this, and that, whereas these guys at the bottom don't have the keyword in their title tag, don't have it here, don't have it there, you know, yada, yada, yada. And if you'd like me to help you, you know, change all this stuff and more to be more like these guys, you know, let me know. And in that case, your social proof is you're showing why some guys rank and why some guys don't. It doesn't have to even be your own sites. You're just saying why these guys rank and why they don't. And in the eyes of a prospect, they're like, oh, wow, this guy actually knows what he's talking about, and I can see why some rank and why some don't. I see why I don't rank, so maybe I should do this stuff to rank. But I don't know how, so I might as well hire this guy to do it all for me. That's a much easier sell than a prospect that gets basically contacted by a random SEO service that says, hey, hire me and I'll help you rank well, with like no social proof or anything at all. That's a pretty big leap right there. Whereas if you show you know what you're talking about, you're all fine right there. You can also send like a website analysis report like through Webfire and stuff like that, so they can see that, hey, there actually are issues. You know, there's stuff that you can do to help them right there. And lastly, you also want to have a clear and concise sales pitch that explains how it will solve their problems. This is what a lot of people lack too. They don't really have a clear and concise sales pitch. They basically say, I'll help you, or, you know, I'll do your SEO. Well, what exactly will you do? How exactly will you help? Like, you know, they want to know what the benefits are. Like, hey, if you use this, I can help you be more likely to get at the very top of page 1, which can help you, you know, increase your traffic and increase your sales and, you know, leads and all that right there. Or if you had, let's say, a video creation service for, like, let's say you make and rank videos, you know, the sales pitch could basically be, you know, hey, this can increase the likelihood that your prospects would find you and help get you rankings not only on YouTube but on Google as well right there. That could help solve the problem of having, you know, a lack of sales or a lack of traffic and all that. So you want to have a clear and concise sales pitch on exactly what you'll do. Then moving on to the next bit right here, you know, all that's left to do after you make your service then is to obviously what? It's to find the buyers and stuff, right? Especially if you don't have a site, you'll have to find buyers. Well, you can do that in a few different ways. One is you can use the lead tools inside of Webfire to find people already talking about and basically asking about such services. Like you could use, you know, like the real-time lead finder, rank lead finder, the Q&A lead finder, the tweet lead finder, and find, you know, lots of guys basically asking questions. Like, let's say, you know, if you had an SEO service, you could find guys asking questions about how to rank or SEO in general, and you can reach out and help them a bit there. At the same time, it's kind of advertising your expertise and stuff as well right there. You could also, like, let's say you had a video making service. There can be questions out there online where people are saying, hey, how do you get a video made like this? Or, hey, who makes a video like this right here? And if that's something that you can do or something that you can easily outsource and make a deal with those guys, you know, you can get a lot of prospects that way as well. You can also, just on another note, you can just look for, you know, if there's a specific market that you're trying to target, like dentists or chiropractors or anything like that, you can try to find ones that most need your help, and try to reach out directly to those as well. Another thing that you can do is you can post ads up on classified sites like Craigslist. You can also respond to freelance site posts and stuff. Every day there's people going to classified sites, going to freelance sites and stuff, looking to hire people like you, but not a lot of people necessarily take the time to reach out. And especially when I'd say like the vast majority of the workers there tend not to do a good job of like having lots of social proof or having a good sales pitch and stuff like that, there's a wide open market for basically people like you to go in there and have the social proof and have the good sales pitch and have that, even if you outsource to others there, to have your office right there. And when you reach out, you're basically giving yourself a chance to make that sale. Now, even if you reach out to 10 different people or 20 different people, and let's say all but one turn you down or don't write back, is your time wasted? No, because that one guy that responds back and accepts your offer could be worth thousands of dollars. So a lot of people think like, oh, well, I reached out to one lead and I didn't hear back, so this sucks. It's kind of like the mentality that you'll reach out to one lead and instantly get a sale. I mean, is it possible? Maybe if you're lucky, but realistically, you have to reach out to a lot of people there. But when you get that one sale, it makes up for all that time right there. It's kind of like, if you're looking to buy a house and you randomly walk into the first house you see, chances are it's not going to be the house that you want. So do you walk away and say, oh, this sucks, this house sucks, I don't like it, I'll just live homeless on the street because, man, I tried to look at a house and I didn't like it at all, so I'm just going to live on the street. Would any of you do that? No. You just go to the next house, the next house, the next house until you find one that you like, right? Well, when it comes to like reaching out to leads and stuff, people seem not to have that mentality. It's like, oh, I reached out to one guy, he didn't even bother to write back, so I just won't even bother with this anymore. And you lose out on a lot of money because there's a lot of people out there that will write back. There's a lot of people that will make those deals with you, but you have to reach out to a lot of them, not necessarily a lot, but you have to reach out to at least some before typically you get a deal there. And once you make your first sale, it's a lot easier to make the additional sales after that point right there. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you're targeting high-end prices, and by high-end, I'm basically talking about like $500 to $2,000 or more, it doesn't take a lot of time to land some sales when done right. Now, if you're trying to land $20 sales, you don't want to contact, 50 people in hopes that one might buy a $20 sale, because not only will that waste a ton of time, that one guy that does buy will be most likely a handful, and you'll find that the higher end stuff tends to be, the clients tend to be better, and just one sale makes up for all that and more, and you don't need a lot of those to have a decent amount of money made each month right there. So you want to focus on finding leads, replying to, and posting ads, for usually at least 1 hour a week to start with. So, obviously the more you can do, the better. But I find if you can spend at least an hour or so a week, that's pretty good. At least gives you something to start with. Then you can maybe move that up to 2 hours or so a week. But that's something that probably all of you can say you realistically can spend at least that much amount of time in doing so right there. Now, another method, I'll move on to method 2 right here, is what I call a shortcut to getting big sellers to do the work for you method. So if you don't have a site, but let's say you have a product or a service, this is a method that can work really well for you. This can have a huge impact on your business if you already have a product or service. And if not, make one. Again, it's not that tough. We have lots of prior calls on how to make products and services quickly and easily. Again, I just gave you some tips minutes ago on how to do that on the service side. But what you can do using some of the tools inside Webfire, like the guest blog tool, the competition backlink tool, or other lead tools, you can use them to help locate other big sellers in your niche. So other companies that have a decent market share in your niche. Then you can email them through the tools themselves and offer to do a white label deal of your offer for them, or just resell it if they don't care if it's a white label deal or not. Now, I know a couple of you, even though I've talked about this in the past, a couple are asking, well, what is a white label? That's basically where you allow someone to sell your product or service under their own name or their own brand, and you don't care. So reason why that's useful is a lot of the larger companies or a lot of people that have a larger market share don't necessarily want to sell your stuff and brand you, but they'll happily sell your stuff as their own and brand them. And how this works out is usually to make these deals work, you as the guy that owns the product or owns the service typically would do all the work, or you'd outsource that, whereas they would do all the marketing and sell it on their end. Of course, you could sell the same thing on your own elsewhere under a different name. That's all fine. But they would do all the marketing for you, and then you would each get a cut of the sales. And it can be a win-win because a lot of people might have a lot of clients or a lot of leads and prospects. They don't necessarily have tons and tons of products and services and other offers, or they don't necessarily have the time to make them all. So they can monetize their lists more and make more by selling more services or products or offerings that they can get through basically deals like this right here. Now, the key to make this work well is to be very generous in your cuts, and that's, give out at least half, if not more, and to ideally, if they want, have you take care of all support and take care of anything and everything that you can to make it super easy for them to make you money. So the more easy you make it for them, the more likely they are to not only make this deal with you, but to also drive a lot of sales your way as well, so they both can make a lot of money. The second that you try to get them to do a lot of work, they're like, well, do I really need you? Do I really want you? Why don't I take the time to make this myself? But if you make it hands-free for them, they're like, man, I'd rather just pay this guy a cut and have it be completely hands-free and still get paid. It's a pretty sweet deal for them as well as you, because you don't have to market anything. Now, oftentimes, these big sellers might have huge market shares and big lists, but again, as I said, they often don't necessarily have tons of products to constantly sell them. So again, you're basically giving them an opportunity to make some easy money as long as you can make their lives easy and hassle-free. Now, if you want to get going in a method like this after you have a product or service, I recommend that you spend at least 1 hour a week or so just basically contacting and reaching out to new prospects or big sellers. Now, again, some of the mistakes oftentimes see here, and this can be like a deal breaker in a lot of these guys' eyes, is, as I said, first, if you offer like a small cut, I see a lot of guys that say, okay, I'll let you sell my product or service and I'll give you a 5 or 10% cut. That is a joke, okay? No one is going to make you all the sales and do all the marketing and everything to only get a tiny cut, where you're basically doing nothing but offering a product or a service. And I know the mentality that a lot of people have is like, well, it's my product, so I should get most of the money, or it's my service, so I should get almost all of the money. They only had to send an email out, so they don't have to do anything. But it's like, yeah, they might not have to do much, but it's their list that they got. So it's their market share that they built up over all this time right there. So they hold the advantage over you. So don't get greedy on that right there, especially when a lot of these like services and products and stuff can have huge margins where you can share with them, where everyone can walk away with a decent amount of money right there. The other thing I see, like the major mistake, is, again, people try to make the person they're doing that they're doing the deal with have to do a lot of work. And the more work you ask them to do, or if you basically ask them to do any work, you tend to lose out on those deals as well, because you're looking to make their lives easier, not harder. And the second you make it harder, they're far less likely to basically do those kinds of deals with you. So moving on to the third method, this is the one that I call affiliate marketing made easy trick. So if you just want to be an affiliate, this method can work great for you and is super easy. So think of one new product a week that you can be an affiliate for. And again, don't overthink this. You can search places like ClickBank or Amazon and just see what the popular products are, what seems to be selling. Maybe search on like forums and stuff and just see what people are basically talking about. Like, don't overthink that. And then, or like being that it's close to Black Friday in the U.S., I know the big, in the U.S., I know there's Black Friday, there's Cyber Monday. I don't know if you have that in the U.K. and Australia and such, but I do know in the UK and Australia, you have similar shopping days like Boxing Day right after Christmas, where there's like tons and tons and tons of sales. This is a good time where if you see what the deals are ahead of time, you can kind of prep yourself to have reviews and stuff up there, and get kind of like a rush of interested people in the products that they're looking to buy at a good deal that you could be an affiliate for. And you could write a short review that can turn into a video with the video Firestorm inside of Webfire, where, again, super simple to do. You just have a simple title where you have the keyword you're trying to rank for within the title somewhere, a short summary of what the product is, a pros and cons list, like what you like or don't like, a conclusion, which basically is, is this a good deal or not? Is it worthwhile or not? Who would like this or not like this? And a call to action, which basically is, hey, this is a pretty good deal overall. So, if you meet the criteria of A and B, this would be a great deal for you to take advantage of right now. And the best place to get that deal through is this place right here, or it's the link that I have in the description, and that would be, your link or your affiliate link or whatever you want right there. And what's cool, with that is these aren't that hard to make. And even if you don't have the product yourself, you don't necessarily have to own the product to actually do the review yourself. You can research what other reviews out there are saying and just do like a summary. In fact, you can even say this is a summary of all the reviews out there with the pros and the cons, and that can actually even help you because a lot of prospects are like, oh, this is really neat. This guy summarized all the reviews out there. That saves me a lot of time. So with that, you want to target review type keywords that, don't have more than 2 title tag matches in Google and/or YouTube on page 1. And what I mean by that is, if you do a search on YouTube or search on Google, if you go through the page 1 results, first eliminate any sponsored ad. So if it says ad or says sponsored, you don't count those. Only count the organic ones and just see how many contain the keyword in their titles that you're trying to rank for. If it's 2 or more, that's a little tougher. If it's less, you have a very good chance, almost guaranteed, of being on page 1. And what you can do is you can start with, like, let's say you can start with a basic term like the product name followed by review. And if it's a popular product, you might have a lot of those, so the competition might be really strong. So instead, you can test the next keyword, which might be product 1 versus product 2, or product 1 versus product 2 versus product 3, which is a search that a lot of people will do, especially if there's like similar competing products, but there's less sites out there and less videos that oftentimes contain that exact phrase in their title. And you can think of and brainstorm probably easily a dozen different kinds of review type keywords. In fact, inside of Webfire, we actually have a review keyword tool. So we have lots of keyword tools. One is called a review keyword tool, which helps you find review type keywords. And this can be a great way to use that and kind of see which ones are, competitive or not, and just basically pick some ones there that you think would be a good fit right there. Because again, even if they don't necessarily get like thousands of hits or thousands of searches a month or anything like that, even if they just get a handful over time, that can add up to decent amount of money, because all these people are likely buyers. It's not just people looking for like an answer to a question. Is people looking for information that are about to actually buy or make a decision on buying a product. You can then use a redirect link in your video's call to action, as well as in the description, to make the affiliate link look nicer when you can. So don't have like a super long link that looks like an affiliate link. Use redirects and stuff like that right there. Or send to whatever site you want. Like if you want to send it to like a larger review or anything like that, you can do that as well. And optionally, even though I know, like in this case, I basically talked about stuff you can do without a site. This is just basically creating videos and stuff as reviews. Optionally, you can turn that into a blog post as well and post it up on a blog, which again, you can make a blog on blogger.com within minutes, following the exact same idea right there, but just with a blog post instead of a video. And optionally, if you want to go the extra mile, you can also use the lead tools inside of Webfire to find people looking for reviews or basically talking about or asking questions on such products. Like recently I was looking into like those video doorbells and stuff, and there's a decent amount of those on the market. And if you're brand new to it, you're like, well, which one's better? And there's like all sorts of prices. Like some are like $99 and some are like 5 times that. And then like you don't really know what's what there. And so like, you might do some, reviews and research and stuff like that. And, some people will look for videos and sites that rank, whereas others might go to like a forum or a place like that and just basically ask, say, hey, does anyone have experience with this versus that, or which one's better, or what's your input on this or that? And you can get some really awesome leads there that are looking to buy, asking legitimate questions that you can actually help turn those into buyers through your affiliate link. Or even like people looking to, like, one thing that I did a lot when I started out online was I was an affiliate for diamonds. So I'd find people asking questions on diamonds, and I'd give them an honest answer and where they could get the best deals on the diamonds that they were looking for. And so again, it's not like I was saying buy. I was saying, hey, to basically answer your question, you don't have to worry about this or that feature, but you do want to look at this, and that. Here are some good deals right here that fit your budget that you might be interested in. That's a helpful post right there that basically comes off really well. And you can find lots of leads asking all sorts of questions, especially on popular products niches like that right there. Now, to give you like an action plan, you can make 1 new review a week and watch you slowly start to build a reoccurring revenue as time goes on. So, you might get lucky and make like some affiliate sales immediately, but over time, if you make 1 new review a week, eventually you'll have a bunch of reviews out there. And if you follow this well and you do a good job here, you'll have a decent chance of landing some sales on autopilot that can consistently grow more and more, especially if you target like affiliate products that either pay more or have like a reoccurring, affiliate commission and stuff like that. Your revenue can start to grow pretty easily over time there. And the final method that we'll talk about right here is using social media to gain exposure and sales. So even without a website, social media can be very effective at getting exposure and sales. You can join relevant groups, and to do this, you can use the Facebook search. So if you log into Facebook and you go to the search, like the normal place where you search for like a friend or like a person, if you type in a keyword, instead of searching for a person, you just click on groups or pages instead of people, and you'll find lots of relevant groups and pages and stuff, and you can start participating in discussions there. So you can join those and start participating right there. And some of these can be huge little communities where there can be tons and tons of prospects. And once you build up some experience there, you can also start your own group where you can post up reviews and tips and so forth as time goes on, and slowly grow your following into a larger one. You can use the social poster fire inside a Webfire to help essentially automate your posts as well right there, so you don't have to do a ton of work there. You can also go a step further and start using Twitter and build a following on near autopilot by using Tweet Lead Finder inside a Webfire. And to basically do this, you'd search for relevant leads, and then you would essentially follow them or start to engage them in a conversation. And then you'll see a good chunk of them oftentimes auto following you back, which can be a great way to build a targeted list. For instance, using Tweetleaf Finder, you could find, all of the people that are complaining about, let's say, back pain. And you can either engage them in a conversation about products or offers you have or ones that you're an affiliate for, where you don't want to say, buy this. Like you want to say, hey, I saw that you were into back pain. Here's some tips that I found that really helped, and you can send them to like a review or a video page or a blog post or whatever you want right there, where you can have your affiliate link and stuff right there. Or if you're a local business, like let's say you're like a chiropractor and you want to target them on a local scale, you can offer a free first appointment or whatever to try to grab a good prospect in right there, and they'll probably love you for actually reaching out for them, and they'll probably be or have a good chance of being a long-term client because you basically reached out and gave them tremendous value without being spammy. You could also, like, let's say, and on top of that too, not only can you reach out to those guys, but if you then follow them after, a lot of them will auto follow you back. So over time, you can start to basically build up this huge list of people in back pain, which anytime you do a tweet yourself, then all those people have a good chance of seeing that, which can be a great tool to basically build a social media list. Now, the key here is to always make sure that your posts and conversations contain value first and foremost, followed by some kind of recommendation, a tip, or call to action based upon whatever you're an affiliate for or whatnot. But you want to make sure that it truly offers value first and foremost, instead of just you trying to get a quick sale. And even just doing just a post or two a week can start to grow this for you. So it's not like you have to reach out to like tons and tons of people or do like, dozens of posts a day or anything like that. Even just one or two a week can start to drastically grow this for you. So keep that in mind. And one last important note, just because you don't have a website now, as I said, it doesn't mean you can't easily make one. It's now easier than ever to do so, and it's super cheap to even free in a lot of cases. Like services, again, like I said, blogger.com is completely free to make and host a blog right there. So even if you don't have a site, you can easily make one and take advantage even more of all these methods on a larger scale, and a bunch of other methods that we teach inside of Webfire that help with sites and help you rank and all that right there. So do keep that in mind. And with that, if you have any other questions or anything like that, feel free to ask those now. We'll be happy to answer as many as we can. And to have a chance to win $100 live, what you have to do is first make sure you join that free Facebook group right there at getwebfire.com/FB group. You'll see a post from Sharon towards the very top. It will say it's been basically posted within the hour, and it will essentially ask what you thought of today's call. If you leave a comment within that post right there, so just click on comment within that post right there. We'll basically do a random drawing in a few minutes right here, and a random winner will win $100 that we'll actually PayPal them the second they send over their PayPal email. So if you have a chance, feel free to go there and leave any kind of comment you want. So it can range from what you thought of the call, it can range from suggestions for future calls that you'd want, or anything like that, perfectly fine. So feel free to do so. And if you're not a free member of that group, just click the join button once you go to that link, and Sharon will probably prove you within like a minute, and you'll have plenty of time to leave a comment right there. So with that, I'm just going to pause the screen for a second, and I'll show off the page and where to leave the comment for those that are new, just in case. All right. All right. So right here, if you scroll on down, you'll see post from Sharon right here. You'll see it's from 34 minutes ago or so, and she's basically asking what you thought of today's call. then what you do, you would click on comment right here, and you would leave a comment here. Yeah, and we'll pick a random winner using a random drawing in just a few moments right here. But in the meantime, if you have any questions or anything, feel free to let us know. In fact, I'll see what questions I can see right now, actually. I know Sean and Sharon have been answering some, so we'll see if there's anything left.
Hey, I want to comment on something you said at the beginning, Brian, about reaching out, contacting people, et cetera. So I was reading a story yesterday or earlier today about these guys from Utah. I think the CEO's name is Ryan Smith, who they started a company, and they're like, oh, how this $8 billion startup, started in their dad's basement, basically, and these guys started basically a family business in the basement, just sold it for $8 billion. To cash to a big company. And but it was interesting, he was talking about how when he finished college, he went to an Asian country to be an English tutor, teach people how to speak English better, right? And he said, I got over there and I found out that there's a whole bunch of people like me, and I was having trouble finding business. So I printed 5,000 flyers, and I went door to door to door, stuffing them in apartment mailboxes until I stuffed 5,000 mailboxes. And he said, I got a lot of business and I made a lot of money. He said, I made a whole lot more money than anybody else I knew that was doing the same thing. Now, I mean, like you said, there's a lot of people who would be like, hey, you know what? I posted a flyer in the lobby of my one-room apartment and nobody showed up to pay me. Man, I'm like screwed, right? Or the guy who took action, who later becomes the founder and CEO of an $8 billion company, and makes himself $1 billion or so, is probably a good guy to follow the model of, I'm thinking, when it comes to succeeding, which is go out and take massive action and do a whole lot of stuff, and good things will happen. So
yeah, good stuff right there. So a few questions that we have here. So here's a question from Francis says, so if the primary focus is on a single page, is really one keyword, where do the 4 to 5 keywords come from? So what he's basically asking, so just to translate, this is probably from like a prior call where we talked about SEO on sites. So every website that you have has multiple web pages, or usually does. So every page you have on your site can basically be treated and targeted differently. So anytime you have a page, like if you have a blog, every blog post you have is like a separate web page, essentially. And what you want to basically do is in the title of every blog post that you have, you want to target a different kind of keyword. So you don't want to target like 10 keywords on one page, because you'll have a hard time to truly do a good job of that. Kind of like if you're a lawyer and let's say you specialize in, I don't know, let's say you do immigration law, real estate law, and traffic law. This or whatever. I'm Sean's the lawyer, so he'd probably know more of the what the specialties are. But those are just 3 that I said off the top of my head. So instead of having like all 3 of those on like only one page where like you basically talk about how you're the greatest of all those, you can have that on one page, but have like a separate page where you basically talk about your immigration law stuff, and have a separate page where you basically talk about your real estate law stuff, and what you do there and why you're good there. And what happens is if someone does a search for real estate law or real estate lawyer, Google goes out and looks at all the web pages and says, hey, well, which one seems the most relevant? Now, let me ask you a question. Which one's more relevant? A page that's only talking about real estate law stuff, or a page that talks about real estate law, immigration law, and traffic law, and whatever other stuff there might be? I think we'll all probably agree it's the one that only talks about the real estate law, and that's the one that is more likely to get ranked there. So when we say, hey, if you have a website, you want to pick several keywords always try to rank for. That doesn't mean every page you rank for all those words. That means, hey, pick like 4 or 5 keywords to start with. Like, let's say you have a blog, and for every blog post you do, try to rank for one of those different keywords. So over time, if you try to rank for like 4 or 5 or 10 keywords, where every blog post ideally tries to basically target a main one, you know, if you rank for a handful of those, you'll walk away very happy. Whereas if you try to only shoot for one keyword, you live and die by whether you rank for that one keyword or not. So if you try to expand out and try to target, you know, as many different keywords as you can, but every blog post you have or every page you have basically targets a different one, you'll have a much greater chance of eventually landing those rankings, or at least some of those right there. All right, Bonnie had a great question right here. She said in lots of the groups on Facebook, she finds that the person that started the group has some rules that you can't sell, and you can be in danger of getting banned if you do. And that's absolutely right, and that's why you have to provide value first and foremost. Like on our Facebook group right here, occasionally, they won't last long, but occasionally you'll see someone will do a post that will say, hey, do you want to earn $100 an hour? You know, join this, you know, MLM here and blah, blah, blah. You know, those don't last long because not only do we delete those, but they don't really offer any value. Like there's nothing learned, there's no tip. Where imagine if let's say someone in this group asked a question like, hey, what's a good graphic designer to make Facebook ads, or something like that. If you came on and said, hey, here's a service that I use that has done a pretty good job, do you think myself or Sean or any of the admins will ban you? No. Just like on another page, most likely they're not about to kick you out as long as you're offering value first and foremost. Or if let's say someone asks a question like, you know, hey, I'm looking to buy a massage chair, my budget is $5,000. You know, what do you think of this one versus that one, or what's a good model in that price range? If you said a reply like hey, here's like the pros and cons of these two right there, they're both a good fit. If you want, you know, a complete comparison, I wrote a full review of them right here that you can feel free to check out to get my full thoughts. But, you know, here's a quick pro and con of each one right here. That's providing value. It's not just saying click my link and buy. It's providing value, but you're still getting your promotions in there. So there's a difference basically between flatly promoting and offering value at the same time right there. All right, David asked here, can you explain what a schema is? So that's we actually have some entire calls on just that. It's an SEO term, and basically, well, here I'll show you actually really quick right here. So here is an example of a schema. So right here, this whole thing on the right side, that's a schema for a business or a local club right there. So they sometimes can have like photos up there. They can often have click to calls. They can have maps. They can have social media up there. They can have reviews, all sorts of stuff right there. There's also, here's an example of the schema maker right here. There's all sorts of different kinds of example ones, like there's ones for local businesses. There's ones for like if you want to have your other pages show up under your main link, you can have that show up in the search results of Google. That's another kind of schema right there. So we, if you basically look at any prior call we have on SEO, I think we even have at least like 1 or 2 on schemas themselves. There's a lot of info on just that right there. Okay. All right, Sean, do you see any other questions that I missed before we give some cash away?
Yes, M asked the best question of all. Does WebFire include a schema maker?
Yes, I do.
Yep.
Yep. it includes that. Very easy to use. You don't even have to be a techie or anything like that. You just basically fill in the blanks that it asks. So super easy. And we have we have training calls and stuff on how to help with those, when to use them, and how to even market them and stuff if you sell it as a service to others. Okay. All right. And Francis, I can tell you you're overthinking on the keyword thing. So you want to rank for as many keywords as you can. So if there might be tons of keywords in your niche, and a handful of them, according to our keyword tools, might be easier to rank for. So you should start there. And on every page you have, or every blog post you have, or anything like that, you should try to rank for at least one of those keywords for each page right there. Now, don't say like, well, what if there's 100 different keywords I want to rank for? You're overthinking it. The same reason why there's millions of markets out there that you can make money in. It doesn't mean that you have to be in every one of those millions of markets to start with. You can start with a few right there, or a few that make sense, and go from there. But the key is to target relevant keywords in your title tags on each of the pages that are relevant to the term that people are searching for. So like if someone is searching for teeth whitening in let's say Chicago, don't have them go to a general dentist site. Even though, yes, I realize dentists do teeth whitening and all that, you want to have it specifically go to a page on the dentist site about a teeth whitening service there, because you have a far more likely chance of ranking. Or if you were looking for dentures, or crowns, or whatever kind of thing it might be that you need, or braces, which I found out a little ways back with my daughter can be insanely expensive. Luckily, she just got done with those like $7.5 grand later. Yeah, you can rank for any of those, and try to have like a separate page, not a separate website, a separate page for kind of each of those main terms right there. All right, Derek, not quite sure what you're asking. You're saying regarding the schema, how about using a screenshot for promoting the service? Yeah, you absolutely can show a screenshot of what a schema looks like, or anything like that. That's perfectly, fine to show off an example. It's not that hard to find them. You can do a search on Google and find lots of different cases of that as well. So with that, I'll give you guys maybe another
3 seconds.
10 seconds to do a comment.
Because if we move, we have 1 minute. We could be done on time today.
Yes, we can be. So I'll refresh that page really quick right here. All right. All right. And ironically enough, I see a few people have posted in the wrong one. So
well, at least they're listening.
Yeah, so at least someone posted up in the welcome, and someone posted up in a call from last week. So that's fine. We'll try to have it in the right one, but we'll count those for now. All right, give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'll count the ones outside of the main one first, just to make it easy. So we have on this one, we have 2 on the old call that posted wrongly, accidentally. 3 right there, another old one. 3 plus 49, so 52. 53. So 54, I'll count the bottom one there. So, all right, 54. All right, so 1 to 54, who do you think will be the winner, Sean?
21.
All right. You can see it's completely random right here.
And randomly, it's 21.
48.
Oh, yeah, it was close. I've guessed it one time out of however many 150, 200 of these we've done.
Yeah. Okay. We have 1, 2, 3. So there's 3 prior. All right, trying to think. 3 prior. There's 49 here. Minus 3 would be at 46. All right, to do. So 48 was the winner, right?
Yeah, all you got to do is figure out which one 48 is.
Yeah. So because there's 3 prior to the end right there.
Well, that's okay. Scroll up, and how many people are in this box?
49 in total, but there were 3 prior. So you do the 49 minus 1, and then the minus the 3 prior would be 1, 2, 3, and then that would end on George McGillivray. So assuming my math makes sense, because there were 3 posts prior to the ones in this group, and 49 here. So minus 1 to make it 48, and then minus the 3 prior.
Right. And Vidor or Vidor, I think you're new, but you only get to post once, not 6 times, because this isn't a contest to see how much you can spam the box. So now you know better for next time, because we won't let you win if you post more than once.
Yep. All right. So this week's winner.
And George says, "Wow, that looks just like me, so it must be me, and I win." He actually wrote that in the box. Go read it.
All right. Well, I'm glad it looks.
Because he knew you were going to say that.
Well, that's always good right there. So if that's you and looks like you, and you live in Stonehaven, and you went to Lochaber High School, congratulations. And your name is George McGillivray. Congratulations, you are $100 richer, or you will be as soon as you post up your PayPal in the chat box to Sharon, so she can see it right there and get that off to you this afternoon. So once again, congratulations to George McGillivray for being this week's Wednesday Marketing webinar winner. And with that, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. If there's any questions or anything we missed or anything like that, feel free to write support@webfire.com. And on top of that, next week we'll probably do a website and business analysis where you can send in your sites and your businesses for us to analyze. And to do that, just write support@webfire.com with whatever your business or your site is, and we'll pick some to go through and analyze and give some tips on and marketing advice on next week. So with that, hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you next week, again, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So with that, see you guys later, and take care.